right, welcome to the Prospect Podcast. On this great Monday morning, we have a fantastic guest with us today. I'm Coach Schumann. To my left, I have Coach DePascal, and we're really honored to have the guest we have on today. He's one of the guys that really pushed the envelope with respect to speed, development of athletes, and really moving that forward into a more modern era to really help get them continue to improve, and also a practical era, so to help them understand like tools and things that can help them get there. And so it's great to have on Coach Brad Fortnoy. It's great to have you on, Brad.
I appreciate it. I'm very humbled and honored for you guys to be asking me to do this. And I know it's been this was supposed to happen about the last month and crazy with schedules, but now things are settled down, being on break right now for the next 2 weeks. So
I figured that's a good part of it. You got an opportunity now to have a little break. So talk about, your whole background for people who don't know. Like, I mean,
sure,
we've interviewed quite a few of the, Feed the Cats guys and in that whole persona. But talk about your coaching background. First we dive into any of that kind of stuff, but coaching background, where you're coaching, all that kind of stuff.
So coaching started for me. Graduated Carthage College Division III school. Did football and track. Had an opportunity in football wise. Had a pro day invite for Northwestern. Went to there. Then I had a pre-draft workout with the Chicago Bears. And the day after Sunday, right after the draft, I got called for the Bears. Got invited to rookie minicamp. So as that was going on, I was doing working at a sports performance place at the same time, and I was just finishing up my master's at Carthage because I had an extra year because I had shoulder and wrist surgery after my freshman year. So after rookie minicamp, I was kind of put on the short list. I asked Dave Toe about it because I was there for long snap and linebacker. I go, be honest with me. Do you think I have what it takes? And he goes, yes, you do. But he goes, it's a right place, right time, and a lot of luck. Mm-hmm. And he goes, just keep working at it, but don't worry. Like, don't be afraid to start your profession either. And at the time, one of our coaches at Carthage, who had stepped away, was a dean at one of the high schools in Kenosha, which was Kenosha Bradford. And he goes, hey, we got a spot open on our staff. We understand that, like, you might have to leave me mid-season, but what you thought about coaching? So that got me into the coaching. That got me at Kenosha Bradford. My first year there, I just coached football, and then I was in the off season, I'd do morning lifting for football, and then after school, I'd drive 45 minutes to EFT Sports Performance and work there from like 4 to 10 at night, all through the winter and the springtime. So I didn't do track my first year there. Going into the second year that I was at Kenosha Bradford, I took over the head girls track program, and that really got my kickstart for coaching. When I took over girls track, I also was freshman girls basketball coach. And the only reason why I was freshman girls basketball coach, because I was about to coach girls for the first time, and I had zero experience with it. So I knew before taking over a head job that I needed some kind of experience. Girls basketball was wide open. And it's just crazy because in Illinois, growing up there, boys had their own individual track meets, invites. You never had that with girls. But in college, they were co-ed, right? Girls and boys were at the same meet. Well, Wisconsin, boys and girls were at the same meet. So we ran, even though I was a head girls coach, we ran a combined program. And that, like, we run a combined program right now down in Alabama where our 7th graders through 12th graders are all on the same team. In Alabama, you could have middle schoolers on your track team. And I think, heck yeah, I want to run my track team because now I have 6 years to develop some of these kids. Absolutely. But was at Kenosha Bradford for 6 years, went to Lakes in Illinois, which was actually in the same district I went to high school at, Antioch. It was actually my freshman class that split into 2 high schools. I was at Antioch. Lakes was then our rival. Was there for a year. Thought I was done coaching, believe it or not. I was going to be done with football. I wasn't even coach track that year, coach softball. And then I got a call from Jed Kennedy, who was the D coordinator down at Enterprise at the time. Said, what you thought about coming to Alabama? I said I'd ask the wife. This was on a Monday. On Saturday, we fly down there. And by Sunday, we return and figured, you know what, if we don't like it, we'll drive back. I was kind of in a limbo in my coaching career. I've done coaching football. I didn't coach track that year at Lakes. I was coaching softball back at Bradford with my wife and a guy named John Ruffalo, who's Hall of Fame coach, the best coach I've ever worked with. And it's just, I just used to do fishing over the week. So he goes, hey, I know you don't know anything about softball and I don't know much about speed, but together would be a good team. And like, that's what my role was for softball.
Right.
It's amazing.
Bill's coach and like base runners. Like, it was awesome. Got to sit back and just focus on that. Come down to Enterprise and coach varsity football for 3 years and head track coach. And then my day job is I'm performance wellness coach for the school system. That is, I work with all 6 elementary schools, our 2 middle schools, and our sports teams at our high school on speed movement, which is an unbelievable job. The reason why I have that is our superintendent saw me fly 10s when I first got down to Enterprise. And it was right after our season. We just finished 5-5. And he goes, what are you doing? I was like, time miles per, looking at kids miles per hour. And I'm running 18.2, 18.6. He goes, is this fast? I go, not really, but that's why we're timing it. He goes, well, what are you doing with the data? As I'm continuing to yell numbers, I was like, we're collecting it. And I was like, speed grows when you time it and you got to measure it. And he goes, oh, okay. He goes, 6 weeks. He's like, I want you to present this to the school board. So this is this is early January, so early February, kind of right before COVID hits. I give like a 5-minute Shark Tank presentation to our school board, how you can train speed and how you can develop it. And it's just like if we're in the classroom, how to get better at reading and math. You got to work on it. Speed's the same way. And if you neglect it, it doesn't get better. And the next day, the superintendent comes to me. He's like, we got a job for you. I go, what's that? He goes, you're going to be a performance and wellness coach. That's what we're going to call it. You're going to do speed throughout the whole school system. And that's my day job.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Awesome.
So, like
you need an assistant?
Yeah. I definitely could use one. Every school's got a literacy coach. Every school's got a numeracy coach, right? There's our instructional coach. Well, I'm that instructional coach for our PE coaches, which I work in a phenomenal school system that they're all bought in because some have kids in the system, or as well as I do, when you start timing kids, and it doesn't have to be the fastest kid winning. The slowest kid who just improved is just as happy as the fastest kid who just ran the fastest time. And when teachers who care about kids start seeing that, like, it changes everything. Like, I don't have to sell anymore of, hey, we should do this. It's like, no, the kids want to do this. Oh, I like this. Like, their behaviors are better. We're doing this. And currently, so I did then try to take a reduced role because track is blowing up, like for elementary track and then our high school track. Elementary, I say that because we have an elementary track meet every year that we'll have. This year was 700 second through 6th grade kids bust over the high school during the school day. They'll compete, and we give out medals for first place, a trophy for the best team, for the biggest school and small school. And it's a big deal, and kids take a lot of pride. Actually, the coaches and the principals take a lot of pride because if you went into one of those principals meeting, they are talking nonstop stuff to each other leading up to it. So it's pretty cool. But I also, so football is back with freshmen, but doing all our athletic movement for varsity, which helped me take a reduced role. No, I'm helping out varsity. I'm going back to corners on that. But I also coach. I'm the head girls flag football coach. And yes, that happens in the same season as football.
Coach really?
Yeah, yes. It's different. Yeah. That happens for you in the fall, correct?
Yes. Yeah. The way we got it set up, I don't know if anybody else could pull it off, but I'm very fortunate with Coach Blackman, our head football coach. He actually works with our quarterback sometimes. So first block, we have varsity football, and we'll get the kids in. So school starts at 7:50, but in season they'll be out on the practice field coming at 7:00, and we'll practice till 9. The bell rings at 9:26. I'll actually get our flag girls in a second block that I can do some things in block with them. The second half of the day, third and fourth block, I'm out at whatever middle school, elementary school, helping that out for the day. And then after school, I'll come back, and I'll usually be weights and film for varsity. Last year, it'd be me with freshmen, or I'm doing stuff with flag. So, like, I can juggle all that because I'm in a very unique situation and special situation, and I got coaches that work great together. Like I say that like it's not just football working great together. Basketball is unbelievable. Baseball is unbelievable. Girls and boys basketball, because if we're going to be good at enterprise, like our basketball players have to play football. Well, if I'm going to be good in flag football, our girls basketball players need to be playing flag football. And same thing with like softball girls need to be out for flag. I actually have 4 softball girls doing indoor track for me right now, knowing that end of January they're going to go back to softball. But like it just, when coaches are working together to do what's best for kids, like amazing things happen, and it doesn't feel like I'm working a day at all. So it's been fun.
That absolutely is a monumental, amazing structure you guys have. It really is. It's that's incredible. How big is the school?
Well, everybody's bought in from the top down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's what it takes.
So our high school is 2,200. We are in a military town, so we have Fort. I got to remember Fort Rucker. It turned to Novacell for a little bit. Now back to Fort Rucker. So 30% of our kids in our high school and throughout our district are military connected. So the bad thing about that, I mean, the good thing is like it's a mixing pot down here. The bad thing is sometimes you get a really good kid for about 2 years, and then mom and dad got a promotion. You can't be mad at mom and dad, but it's like we've lost some really talented kids that way. We've also been our best 800 runner right now moved in from Tennessee last year, and he's really good. He's got the school record and everything. So like we've been benefit on both of it. It's been good.
That is phenomenal. That's an amazing. And Derek just started to say it, but like that commitment, right? From the top down is really just monumental, and makes a little difference. I mean, it's a huge movement through, in my opinion, throughout the South to kind of more and more make it how Texas has kind of been able to do it. I'm not saying they do the speed stuff the way that you do, but the structure with the whole entire system committed to helping athletics improve and helping the athletes get the most out of them. It's really amazing because it's when I started running like camps and showcases I would say it was 2005, but we started really traveling back then, like 2007. And we would go to Texas, and they had all that stuff back then. Unbelievable. This was when you were in college. And probably, Derek, you were probably in college, right, at that time?
Yep.
So they had a lot of those structures in place, right? And they were building a lot of those facilities were open. And then Allen, a couple of years later, got built, or a year or two later after that, got built. And I kind of happened to travel a lot at that time in Texas, all over. We should run events all over. But I saw obviously a lot of the facilities in Texas, and at first there was a couple here and there around the Southwest, but and one or two maybe in Georgia was just beginning, but now it's really started to work. Like Alabama has really done a great job. A lot of the bigger programs, Hoover.
Our facility, like it makes.
Yeah, I was just going to touch on that, Coach. Like you're now expanding on what you've already had, and now you're looking like it's a little different in the fact that look, there's high school itself, right? Like 2,200 kids for us up here. That would be in like our groups. They group them 1 through 5, 5 being the biggest, right? For size wise, that would be a group 5 here in Jersey, but there's no space to build anything. Right? Like for the most part, until you get to like South Jersey, the population density here. I mean, Dave and I, we've relocated to kind of central Jersey, but when we're from up north, which is literally you're building on top of each other. And every small little town has a high school, right? Like we're both from really small schools. I graduated high school with like 100 kids, right? So you're talking like small areas, but a ton of people. But just the facility wise, there's no like land to build on. They're literally building on top of each other. I mean, one of our high schools, their facility and football field is on the roof, right? Like Union City High School literally plays on the roof of their school. It's one of the coolest setups ever, but they literally like, that's what we're trying to work with. And I know you guys are expanding on the facilities themselves. Touch on that a little bit, Coach.
Okay. So I mean, it's crazy in my mind. So, and when we flew in, so when you, and anybody can contest if they come to Enterprise, like we flew into Destin from the airport from Destin to get to Enterprise. Like if you don't stop at the gas station right off Highway 10 in Florida, like there ain't nothing. You'll see houses on cinder block. And my wife was like, "Where are you taking us?" You pull up and it's like this incredible, we thought it was a university. Like it's just nuts if you look at pictures on it. And Halfley was tornadoes struck our high school back in 2008. And so they had a rebuild and all that. Well, when I first got here, we had a grass field. The stadium holds 8,000 people. They have their football only facility. So coming from, Illinois, Wisconsin, it's like that wasn't a thing. Well, they have just finished, and hopefully January 7th we'll be in it, 100-yard indoor pavilion with a brand new weight room with 27 racks. It has a girls' locker room finally in there. It has coaches' offices. It actually has a plunge tub, a new training room in there, a huge nutrition room. It just I'll have to definitely FaceTime you guys and walk you through it. It's nuts.
That's incredible.
It's phenomenal.
Every time I see it, it's like this. I don't live in the real world. Our track just got surfaced. Retcon, which is they used a gel surface, which is right below the Olympic grade. I know they spent a ton of money on that. They are doing giving us some new storage set out by the track. They just added within the last 4 years baseball and softball complexes that are now on campus. So it's just wild. Like it's crazy.
Well, I think that kind of ties into the investment that's coming into right from the top down. Yeah. I mean, you're talking about your superintendent goes to you when you get there and says, "Look, present this to the district. I'm creating this job for you, and I'm giving you this title, and you're going to work across the board with every school." Age, like doesn't matter what age, we're going elementary, middle, high school, and you're going to do this because we think this will increase and just be a more positive thing for our school system. So when you have that kind of alignment and buy-in, you know what I mean? Like they're going to give you everything. And now it's kind of just like, well, I'm not going to get this anywhere. It makes you want to work even harder for what it is. Correct. Just because like they are basically saying, here, you created this curriculum, run with it. And now now they're seeing the gains within the kids themselves. And it's been, you know what I mean? The cycle through of like, they know you from seeing you in elementary school and then middle school, high school, like it just tracks all the way through where that positivity and all that stuff, like from the buy-in aspect. And you're talking coaches that are all aligned as, it's not, oh, my team here or my team this. Like, no, we're all one. And correct. Like the more we work together and do all those types of things, like we can all be successful, right? Because that's really what it comes down to. And we talk about it all the time. Like when everybody like that is bought into like a bigger picture, like it's not just my football team or my girls basketball team. When it's like the school itself or the district itself, when there's an alignment from top to bottom, like that's when you're really kind of cooking with gas.
Oh, 100% so. And then also being like, hey, I could come up with an idea or think like, hey, I think this would be really good and have some backing to it, and having an administration or even coaches that work with like not tell you no and be like, okay. Like, right.
Or they actually listen and they're like, yeah, let's try it.
Hey, no. Yeah. I got more justification. You don't hear it. They're like,
yeah.
Like, I know that's not everywhere. I'm trying not to screw that up, and I'm going to enjoy it as long as I can. So it's just, that's what makes this place so special.
It's awesome. You're on mute, Dave.
Muted. All right, now I'm not muted. Yeah, I guess I muted myself. It's incredible. I'm just looking at while you were talking. I was just looking at the facilities. I asked ChatGPT to like send me some pictures, and it's like crazy. It's crazy facility. I'll pull it up when we get to the end of the podcast just so people would see some of the stuff, what it looks like. Talk about it really is, by the way, incredible. Derek, if you pull it up, it's like brand spanking new. Like,
yeah, I've looked at it. Like, it's unbelievable.
So when you made the transition into this new role, which is obviously just a phenomenal role. Obviously, you're doing a lot of things too, but and when you started really developing like how your programming works from a speed standpoint, explosion standpoint, the tracking standpoint, what were some of the kind of things that you started to see, and how did you kind of adjust your programming as you started to develop the programs?
So I could take it. So here's the biggest thing. So being a guy who's done West Side, I mean, back in high school, we're bigger,
Side
faster,
barbell.
stronger.
Oh yeah.
Then dove into West Side. Really like that. What we're doing there, and I attended my first TFC, and I'm sitting there, and we just came off finished third in state for track. Had a girl who was runner-up back-to-back years. We just almost set the state record in the 4x2. Won that 4x1, took second place. So I'm feeling pretty good. And I listened to Tony Holler say, like, explaining it. It's like, makes sense. Makes going to feed the cats and everything like that. And then he goes, yeah, if you're not timing, you're not sprinting. And I'm sitting in my seat and I just sink down. I'm like, oh shit. Because I just spent the last year trying to get our athlete, Jackie Baldwin, like, if you're not fast enough right now, what do we got to go do? Pound the weights, right? So
Right.
I get her to squat up to 315, and she's at 130 pounds and like really good. She didn't run any faster as a senior than she did as a junior, but we didn't sprint at all. So my thing I always start with is the sprinting part, and just getting kids. Like, I always feel like even kids in elementary school, there's a governor that gets put on. Why? Because, hey, Coach Sue, anytime I run, he's yelling at me to slow down, or teacher, right? So when kids got to run, usually not when they're 3 or 4 or 5 years old, they're running around just goofballs all the time. I got a 5 and 7-year-old daughter. They have fun just running nonstop. But when they actually have to run in sport, it's usually because of punishment or conditioning or whatever, not because they're getting timed or like, hey, run there and back, I'm going to put you on a clock. So to take that governor off, I always start with, hey, we're going to work on timing sprints. Now, however you want to do that with whatever timing gate or situation or stopwatch you want to do, I always think that is the first thing. Now, doing 6 years, having some of these kids for now 6 years at Enterprise, I have to adapt it a little bit because they're not just used to, hey, the only time I've ever had to run, it's because I have to survive because I'm in conditioning or I'm getting punished, right? Now it's, hey, the only time I've ever had to run is like we're getting timed and I'm giving full speed and all that. So now I'm on the flip side of the spectrum of I don't have to teach like, hey, let's take the governor off and go full speed. Now, how do we control those speeds and different, not just, hey, we're going all out crazy. Like, okay, how can I run fast and smooth? What's that look like? Hey, I want you to go really hard, but don't strain on this. What does that look like? Hey, this is what you just ran on that time. Do you feel like you could have gone faster, but you won't get tired? Yeah, I think I could have. Now understanding the paces. So when starting out measuring wise, I mean, a lot of kids, and especially the elementary, because, like everybody's got, I want to say like barriers or whatnot, or some things that they can't go. I mean, sprint for the elementary kids is easy, and getting a clock and timing on them is like one of the easier things that I'll always start with. Now, once they get to usually middle school, same thing. Once they get to high school, been doing a little bit. Now it's understanding the different speeds that they can go. Like, all right, we're trying to get you 0 to 60, but what's 45 miles an hour feel like? What's 30 miles an hour feel like? And now I can start having those conversations because they actually know how fast they can go.
Right. Once you have a time and once you have their miles per hour on, when they ran their fastest time,
yeah,
they have a measuring stick to know where to go from. I think that's a really interesting point you brought up about once they get to the point where they understand that they need to sprint fast, right, in order to get faster, and you're timing them, and they start to get that component. I think that's a really good point. Now, okay, understanding changing speeds, changing direction. What does that explosion look like? Deceleration, right? That's probably a big component, right? Okay, we can move real fast, but how fast can we also stop? Like, what does that look like? And then how fast can we restart, right? And what does that look like? Those become like components that you can, I'm sure you're starting to figure out and measure, and those are like elite level things that you see at the highest level that you're really starting to be able to do with high school kids and middle school, which is really, really cool, because that's it was one thing. Like I started doing that with like the kids. Like my son's 10 years old, and we started doing a lot of the Feed the Cat stuff with our team last year for the first time. And we started to see results in the first season, but we saw a lot more this year as we started to ramp it up. And I think our team speed improved dramatically, right? I think your point about where, like, the kids who are really fast to begin with, they know they're fast.
Yeah.
And so you do want to measure them. Obviously, you're continuing to getting them improved, but they probably still might be the fastest kids. It's those other kids that are when they make massive improvements to what they're doing, their times and the fact that they might even be maybe starting to get closer as they start to realize that they can get faster to even the fastest kids. That is really, really an increase for your whole entire team, and it makes a huge difference. Good.
Well, here's the thing too, is like those 10-year-olds, the younger the kid, like the less screwed up they are. And what I mean by screwed up is like adults have not ruined their form, their technique. We haven't
bad habits.
We're going to mess up your movement wise because I'm trying to teach this skill, and we're going to overskill you, but your movements aren't there. So like I look at it when you're elementary kids, even up to 10, 11, like they are Play-Doh straight out of the package.
Yep.
You can maneuver it however you want, shape it, and good. And you could tell them like why I like doing obstacle course stuff, running hoops, over noodles, things of that nature now. And the track would call those wickets, and they might have cones or mini hurdles, but yeah, right. I'll put noodles out there, and you'll watch toe off position and everything's perfect. It's like, wow, they look really good doing that. But
that's a great point.
The older they get is it's like, dang it, my daughters didn't put the Play-Doh away. It's a little harder today, and now I have to maneuver it. Oh, I got to add a little water to it to make it a little softer. Like over time, some of those patterns get grooved. But you'll watch your 10-year-olds right now, since you did that last year and they started it, you have great patterns, and now we're building off those patterns. It's like, wow, you guys move better than that, JV football team right now. Or, hey, that varsity team that's not very good, like we have better movers than that. And you 1,000% do. And it's cool to see that. Like that's where my eyes go on those kind of things.
Yeah, like I've been toying with, like I might want to ask the parents, because obviously they're 10. Like, can we film some of the stuff we're doing? Because like the parents are, because obviously they're young kids, and I don't want to put it all out there. You know what I mean? Without their, I I don't care if we do or we don't, but just because other people might be thinking some of these things, and I'm sure there are other guys around the country doing it with younger kids, especially in the South. But what we started to do, like we added with our football team, we're doing 3 times per month, we have a workout for them. So, like obviously young kids, they play different sports, right? So Sunday nights, as many kids that can get there, we have 45 minutes for the linemen, 45 minutes for the skill guys. We allow, because they're young, we allow them to do both if they want to, because we don't, like we always say, we don't know, and it's probably not perfect as far as the Feed the Cats world, where some of the kids might be repeating something a second time. But the thought process where whole like is like we're trying to get them to start doing deceleration, acceleration, sprinting fast. And what we noticed was, and yesterday we just did, we had the OVR out. We did their vertical jump. Even though I don't think the OVR is perfect, by the way, now that I use it, like there's some flaws with it. But
here's my thing: at the end of the day, you got a measurement. It doesn't matter.
That's exactly right.
That's all that matters. Like, and it's your measurement, and it's what we're going to test from, and let's just go from it. It's how you gamify it and make it super simple. And I only tell you that is because we have 2 different VBTs. I have to figure out what's the simplistic one for, not like nerdy me. I could dive deep into it.
Right.
What is our kids going to understand? What's my 5-year-old going to understand? But what are the coaches I work with? What are they going to understand and grasp? Because they might tell you, that's great. That's great. What are they truly comprehending and digesting? And that's way different than what they might look on face value. So whatever you got to measure. I mean, like
exactly,
it's not wrong. It's not wrong.
No. I think that's a great point, because we're the guys that help. Actually, for volunteer coaches that I have with me, and like I coached 20 years in high school, and these guys, like, even though they may not know the ins and outs of football, the way that maybe some higher, as far as commitment, it's amazing. Like, they're volunteers and they're there every the majority of them there every practice, and they're all bought in.
Yeah.
They're all bought into, like, I started introducing last year, which was hard when they were 9 to introduce, like, because everybody around you is running like laps. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're watching it, and and everybody, when your assistants who played in high school, a couple guys played in college, but they probably ran laps. You know what I mean? Like, so, but they've been great with it. They've seen the progress, and now they're all like, these guys are buying. This is how it's amazing, the culture, and you know this way better than I do. They're making home gyms in their houses. Okay, all these guys, like, with whatever they can get a hold of, they're like, what timing gate is that? Okay, so they're making all home gyms in their houses the best they can, because obviously we're doing only so much with them. Yeah. They want to do another day of the week, another 2 days of the week. You know what I'm saying? So, but we could only work around, obviously, because young kids play multiple sports. They might play 2 sports every winter season and every spring season.
Think about this. You've built that motivation to wanting to do more in the right way, not forcing you to do more. So it's like, well, hey, I'm having a lot of fun. Can't we do this more, Mom and Dad? And they're like, yeah, how do we figure that out? Not, oh, hey, we're going to take you here. I got to keep you there because I'm keeping up with the Joneses. No. Like, we switch that into performance site and, like, mindset through the lens. And now it feeds off of it. And when you have good things like that going, it's contagious, but who wouldn't want to do that? Like, wait,
absolutely.
You're making me feel better. You're making me feel good. It's not, well, you just don't care. You're lazy. No. Like, oh, I'm improving, and we're going to celebrate the improvements, and we're going to keep pushing in the right direction. Like, who wouldn't want that?
Absolutely. It's your point is so valid. Last night it was really interesting because we had last night was Sunday. We had our workout, and what younger kids is so interesting because they play, some of them might play multiple sports. So I say, don't worry. Like, some days you might feel better than others because you obviously might have played a basketball game or a wrestling tournament, and then you came over here. Like, it's never going to be perfect for us. But what was interesting is when we do we use like the short hurdles, like wickets, to sprint over, and then they have to continue all the way through for another like 8 to 9 yards, right? To sprint. We're doing it in a basketball gym, and they all know when I tell a kid, and the coaches know hey man, you didn't finish your sprint. The objective is to go all the way through as fast as you can, like, because your conditioning part is 100% right. Some of them are still conditioned, right? That, oh, this is torture work, right? And I'm like, no, you guys rest. When your whole group is done once, you rest as long as you need before we go again. Now, they always move faster than you want them to. They're almost ready. They're ready too quick, Yeah. But they're like, wait a minute.
They can lead in those good conversations of, like, and I'll tell you this because if you went out to elementary school right now, you'd see, like, if we're timing on Fridays or whatever, whenever it is, like, they will keep running fly 10s. Oh, let me get another one. No, I can run faster. Faster. But it leads to that conversation of, like, hey, your phone or your tablet? Yeah, coach. Okay. If you drain that all the way down, how long does it take to get back to 100%? Well, usually I plug it in at night and it'll be good when I get up in the morning. Go, yes. So let's say you just finished a sprint. We drain that all the way down. We need to plug it in right now. Do you think you just pulling off the charger right away? Oh, I can do it again. It's going to be 100% and it'll get you all the way. No, it's going to take some time. I go, same with you. So then I can tell them, like, hey, every 10 yards is about 2 minutes. So if we have a long line, that's fine. If you feel like, hey, I got a lot of energy, and I'll tell, like, our high school kids, when they start jaw jacking at each other, it's like, okay, they're ready to go again. Like, that's how I gauge the pulse and the temperature of the room of, like, all right, it's too quiet over there. They need more rest. Oh, they're talking stuff. They're ready to run. Like, elementary kids are the same way. And it helps to get them to understand of that full recovery spot, which that's part of it too, of educating properly, not
absolutely.
I want to say, like, demeaning because you don't care. You're not tough. No. Like, let's educate right. And then when you have to push the envelope on them, you can push the envelope on them. And they'll know you care about it. That's been cool about the whole process of.
It's a reframing, right, of their
100%.
mindset. It's interesting because we're getting this like weird thing where like a lot of kids who aren't even linemen are coming to the lineman period because they want to work more. But here's what's interesting. They did the vertical jumps when they first came in, and then the second group came in, but a lot of the kids do it, in the second group as well. And they're like, can we do the vertical jump again? I said, I'll let you guys do the vertical jump again, but I'm going to guarantee you one thing, and you'll see I'm right. Over 95% of you will jump lower than when you jumped your first time. And they're like, how do you know that? I'm going to give more effort now. I know what to do. I'm like, you just did a workout. We just did our 45 minutes of work. Like we did our speed work, then we did our skill work. And there's a level of time. And they all did it. And out of, I think it was like 15 kids that came back to the second workout, out of those 15 kids, one of the 15 had a higher vertical. And they were all shocked by this. They were shocked. Yeah. But this is a reframing, right? The reframing. So they're now like, you could see with a 10-year-old, they're like, oh my goodness. Like, because they're used to other practice, other sports. Do it again, do it harder, right? But they don't realize that they're actually going slower. They might be think they're giving more effort, but they're going slower. I'm curious if you're seeing that too, like with the high schools. Is like, are those aha things going on with like even the high school kids?
It's funny you bring that up. Yes, 100% aha. And sometimes they don't grasp it. And I only tell you that as like some of your smarter kids do.
Right.
Some of your other kids are like, oh, okay. Well, I tell you that because we just had our college guys back, and like I'm gonna go see them in about within the next hour, right? So, and I say that because we timed it like 5 into 10 last week. We're gonna time their miles per hour today because I asked them last time they sprinted. It was a long time. We did our 1 step of separation to understand that, and when I start talking about, force to form and adding force and how to take 2 steps hard and all that, and we start talking about that, like the light bulb goes on, and they're like, this is what you've been talking about like the last 5 years with us. It's like, yeah, now it matters more because some are at SEC schools or Sunbelt schools, so dollar sign helps to that, but they care about their performance and they are locked in and dialed in. You'll have some of those kids in the high school realm, middle school realm, even your smarter elementary kids will be like, okay, this got it, this is what it means, and then they can fully comprehend that, not just like, I want to regurgitate what coach said because, okay, I'm going to sound right. Now it has meaning to it. Oh, hey, I felt that. Like, it's super cool this past year, flag football, of working on some of our foot placement stuff, and to close it, just the girls would come over the side. Hey, did you see a wide base crossover on that? And I got her. It's like, yeah, like perfect. You're understanding it. And your kids who really want to know and care will keep pushing for that. It's been very cool to work. Any kind of professionals, the ones who like, anytime I've done stuff with professional athletes, like they're engaged, like locked in. Well, I've noticed that right now with their college guys coming back of like, I'm all in. Like, I want to know. Like, how do I get better? And some of your more mature high schoolers are, the aha moments happen. Now, to a degree, I think it happens with all, for a full understanding and how to get better, and then understanding how to use it and train with it and all that's a whole different like level of understanding. And there's, I think, like your top 15%, right, top 10% kids on that.
Yeah, that's really me. I mean,
but
that's good. Go.
Your education portion on that, like sometimes you could say it the first time and it's like, okay, they don't grasp it. You say it the second time and it's like, you say it the third time and it's like, I'll always hit back to those things of like, where we're at. This is what I care about. Because what I've noticed, and you probably have it with your kids too, is like, do you ever feel like they won't tell you something because they don't want you? They have that fear of letting you.
Yeah, they don't want to disappoint you. Yeah, they don't want to disappoint you. It's why sometimes it's why sometimes you can create that relationship, especially as an assistant football coach, or even the assistant, doing the girls' flag stuff. Like sometimes they won't communicate with mom or dad because of that, right? So you can develop that relationship as the coach where you're that buffer. Like they may tell you things that they're not telling them, right? And then sometimes you get into that meeting and it's like, really? Like, I didn't know that. But like that fear of disappointment comes across the board, right? Absolutely. Especially when look, I think the one thing that like, and we do dips and dribs and drabs of it with the Tony Holler stuff, but the rank, record, publish, like that's huge, right? Because now it's something it's there, they can see it, right? And they can't kind of bullshit it, right? Because it's there, your name's on it, right? And that just adds that level of like, this is real, right? Kind of the whole thing, like with goals, if you write them down, like that now it's you're more in tune to do them because they're physically in front of you. I think that it all ties hand in hand, but you're 100% right. That disappointment, like sometimes they're working off of that. And like, hey, I want to get better, but I don't want to, like I know I need to do this, but I don't want to say it because they just have that level of fear.
Well, and here's a great thing. I work with coaches that understand that. So like, let's say Derek, we're running, I don't know, whatever today, we're timing. And I always tell our kids, I was like, if something is not feeling right, don't run today. And they'll be in line and I'll be like, hey, does something not feel right? And the kid will, yeah, my quad and this. I go, why are you in line? Well, coach, I don't want to. It's like, at the end of the day, if I'm looking football wise, and some people might not agree with this, yes, every day is important, you could say, but only 10 days matter for us. And it starts August 26th, right? 7:00 on a Friday night. Does December 13th at 8:30 in the morning really matter?
Right.
No, if you're not 100%, because not only do I not like, we could sit today because I want you better tomorrow. I don't want to push today. Like we can do all other work. Maybe I don't have you do our 2 sprints today. Well, I'd rather have you 100% in January instead of be nagging injury through January. A lot of our kids are good. I was telling my wife this, who coaches flag football with me and track. Fortunate with that.
Oh my God, coach!
She
like
says,
that is unbelievable. Holy hell! Like we need to do a podcast on how that works. Like that's amazing.
Yeah,
right? Like holy shit! Like
well, and she was also coaching volleyball so she did volleyball in the fall at the middle school, and then helped me with flag while I was doing football and flag. So
it's amazing.
Yeah, we're juggling a bunch. We got a 3-ring circus that we like to joke.
Hey, but, it's the best way to do it. Controlled chaos. But I think that's just so it's so the kids get so plugged into that though, that level of understanding, just like, it takes that to another level when they can grasp all of that and really work, you know what I mean? And really understand like everything we're doing plays a role into us all trending forward, right? And I think that of self-awareness just takes it to a different level.
Well, and I asked my wife this because her girl does flag and she does track and she's a really good track athlete. Mom sends me a text of like, hey, we took her in, she's been having issues with this, I think she's got to sit 2 weeks, but then she'll be good. It's been going on for a little over a month, happening flag. And I look at my wife, I was like, do I not ask? Like, how are you feeling? Right. Does anything bother you? She goes, you start every day. You ask multiple times during practice and at the end of practice. I go, I just want to make sure that maybe I'm not thinking that in my mind, but you still have some of those kids. And
I think you can attest to this, coach. I feel like it's because they've always been conditioned, and parents the same way, right? Because we coach and parent the way we were coached and parented. It's what right? They've always been coached to that more is better, and to push through is better, and you got to fight, and you got to grit, and you got to that. And I think that's one of the biggest obstacles with the Feed the Cats is getting people to understand that less is more in the long run, right? And to understanding that part of it, when it's always been, we got to do another sprint, we got to push through this here, like more go, like that type of coaching or parenting, like that's what's tuned in their brains. And I think that's a big obstacle for it.
Getting them to understand numbers and go off numbers is huge. Like, so I'll auto-regulate all our stuff. Hey, coach, how many sprints are we doing today? Let's see. You're running a 4.9 right now. If you hit 5.1 in your 40s, we're done running 40s today. And what are 99% of coaches in the world going to say? Well, what if he dogs his second 40?
Right.
Well, I'm a dummy for putting him am I going to trust him on 4th down in the 4th quarter?
Right.
A big stop for us. No, I'm the dumbass for putting them in there because I can't trust them running 40s. Like, I have not had a kid who runs the first 40 and say they're a 4.9 And Coach Sue runs a 4.8, and I'm like, no, I'm going to take this one easy and run a 5.2. No, I'm going to try to beat his 4.8 because I know he's faster than him. And if I don't beat his 4.8, I'm going to tell Coach his lasers are wrong.
Right.
Like, that is where I found the auto-regulate. So when parents are like, you need to push them, I'm like, hey, here's where our numbers are right now. We're going to be good. Like, always playing the long game, always playing, like, I'll get some parents will be like, hey, don't be afraid to, push them a little more, get after them. It's like, oh, we'll get after it when the time's right. Like,
right.
And exactly. I have great support from parents. Our athletes are phenomenal of, like, we'll have practice today here. Like I said, I got our college kids coming in to do some speed work, but they're doing it with the track team. I bet you we'll have 40 kids out there right now. And it's not a requirement. I just sent a text out there. It would, I won't be surprised if there's more of them of like, hey, 11 o'clock on Monday. Here's our day to get after it. And a lot of kids are like, okay, coach, I'll be there. If you're not there, like, it's okay. Just if you can show up and they're in town. And I think when you got buy-in, it's not every day of the week. Like if we went 5 days a week, why we're off right now, I know the kids would be fried by March, and I need them their best in April for
100%.
But if you pop up and be like, hey, we're going to go on this Sunday, or hey, we're going on this Monday, like, they're going to feel obligated to be there. And they'll feel like they're letting you down not being there, not just going through the motion. So it's like biting it twofold. And I know we're going to get after it today because I need to work them hard enough that if I don't see them for a week, we'll still be good,
It's a great balancing act. It like you have the science behind the data and all that kind of stuff to know where to put the programming, and then it's that balancing act at the feel of talking to them and figuring out, okay, like how are they feeling? You have the data that tells you one thing, right? And then how are they feeling? Mentally, how are they feeling? You know what I mean? That's a big part of it. Like, because each kid's, not only just from an athletic standpoint, but they're all maybe academically or at home dealing with different things, and their ability to kind of communicate that with you makes a huge difference in their overall programming. It's now with all the with the coaches, all the coaches you deal with. I'm curious because obviously you have such a great system. Do you ever get pushback from like a particular coach? I don't, you know what I mean? Like you might have a guy, I don't know, that's on the staff that is super successful, like really winning coach XYZ sport. And he, like you're introducing something to him that he may not really understand. And it's like, hey, if I'm winning 90% of my games, like, if I change, will that hurt me? Right. You know what I mean? That's how a lot of coaches think. Do you ever run across any of that? Or are you guys now so coordinated that's not an issue?
I will say, well, hey, so I'm going to switch off my computer and my phone. Is that going to screw stuff up? I know I'll get an echo here.
No, I don't. Switch off your computer and go. No, I don't think so.
Okay. So sorry to do that. Allow mic.
Yeah, there you are. Okay.
All right, I'm going to exit out.
Okay, here. Okay, all right, good. Okay.
Cool. All right, we're good?
Yeah, we're good. Perfect.
All right. So, great question on that. I'll give an honest story on this because this is how it happened. So, do you guys know?
And I'm sure in the beginning it was tough, right? Like I'm sure in the beginning.
So coming, actually, that's probably what led me out of a place like when I was at Lakes of just, they let me do it. But like when you don't have full buy-in, it's like, okay, time to move on. And I didn't have enough confidence. I thought I'd be at Kenosha Bradford my whole life. And then I got enough confidence to take a step at Lakes. And then I had enough confidence to never be into Alabama before, take a leap of faith, come down here. So Rick Darlington was the coach I was coaching for. I don't know if you know him, the name of it. Single wing guy. Like you could pull up a pocket film and they used to run, and I'm not lying to you, 300s on Monday, crossfields, gassers on Tuesday. He'd have like his short and long run the hashes on Wednesday. Well, we played North Miami Beach. They traveled 8 hours that day to come play us. And we're up 19 going in the fourth quarter. We end up losing. And I just remember that Sunday meeting coming in. And all summer, like, showed like RPR and was working on it because he had his son who was a quarterback who was having some issues. And then he told his dad of like, hey, coach knows some things. And Rick goes, hey, when are you going to do that with the offense? I was like, oh, I've been doing it with the defense. And he goes, yeah, when are you going to start with the offense? Like, don't hold your secrets kind of thing. So we were doing RPR and stuff, but like we were still running a ton after practice condition. So we blew a 19-point lead against North Miami Beach, who traveled 8 hours that day. In Sunday's meeting, he opens the door of the defensive room and goes, you're the speed guy. Are we conditioning too much or not enough? And I just looked at him. I go, we're not hitting game demands. He goes, what do you mean? I go, you got our fat offensive lineman, which one of them was like 300 pounds. A little north of that, a little south of like 5'8". I go, you're having him run a 300 gasser on Tuesday, and you're punishing everybody because he's traveling and it's taking him 60 seconds to do that. I go, when's he going to do that in a play? And like the light bulb goes on. Rick's a guy who wants to win games. He wants to win championships. And he's going to figure out how to do that. And I found out any coaches who want to win championships aren't stuck with, this is how I've always done it. So from that day on, we started cutting everything into half. Like we're trying to keep it 3 to 5 seconds. So we still ran after practice. That turned to the next year when COVID hit. He kind of gave me full control of all our speed. That's when we started testing miles per hour right after the season to understand it. And then that started to pre-practice. So anybody who's like, oh, we still got to have the edge. We got to condition. And I know Rick does it today. We started practice with two different drills. We might be running mini hurdles for 4 sprints for 5 minutes. And then the other group might be doing hoop runs. They might do pro agility. We might do some kind of race chaser time. So we do that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Well, if you ask a lot of coaches, oh, that's your agility. Yeah, sure. Oh, no, that's your warm-up. Yes. No, that's when you can do your speed. Yes. No, that's your condition. Yes. No, that's your skill acquisition, however they want to make it fancy. Yes, yes, and yes. So we start practice with that. Then kids go put their pads on, get a water, drink, all that stuff, and then we roll in the special teams 2 minutes later. Now we just finished our quote-unquote conditioning, our speed work, all that stuff, start practice, and then we can go into practice and not worry about it. So buy-in from it is having good experiences, but also knowing when you're working with coaches are a little bit vulnerable to be able to, all right, how do we do this better? Also, showing the success is hard to go back on it. Well, I know this works. Anybody that goes, I know this works and this is how we got to get tougher, like they don't have numbers attached to it. And I say that because I'll get in some discussions, and it's more discussions, not arguments with our coaches, because they want to learn. And I like to be kind of, hey, just challenge me. I want to know why I'm wrong. Like, just that's what I'm always looking for. I want to do what's best for kids, but I also want to know why I'm wrong, because if I know I'm wrong on something, I want to be better on it. Because at the end of the day, I owe that for the kids to keep turning over stones and figure out what's better. And it leads into discussions like, well, I know this gets us faster. Okay, how do you know that gets us faster? Well, people say it does. I go, hey, how do you say that when you don't time it, when you don't measure it?
Right. Where's
you
the data?
Say, oh, I'm faster. Yeah. Like there's data out there that we can have. There's so most of our programs, it's been good. And the coaches that feel like, hey, I still want to run miles because I think that helps us in whatever sport. Like, okay, you can do that. Like if that's what you're going to hold on to, but I'm still going to, when I have an opportunity to impact and on the performance side of things, like we're also going to do that. Now, probably 10 years ago, I would have been frustrated on that. Like, oh, they're not doing this. I'm going to support however a head coach wants to go in whatever way they want to go. I'm going to use my knowledge to the best of my ability to do that. And I only got that, being around real smart people of, all right, how do I still do the better, what's best for kids, but knowing the head coach's stamp on a program might be running 300. Like if that's what they want to do, that's fine. But here's what I want to do on the other performance stuff. Like, I know mat drills are still a big thing for football for some places. We'll do like some morning agilities. In the performance world, do I think it's, is it something that's best for our kids who are in another sport right now? You could make the argument either way, that being with the team and all that. But I know we're going to do smart things around that so kids aren't burnt out and still getting through. And if it's only a couple of days of it, like we can live off that. If Coaches
Right.
really want to do
You're not going to
something
kill
hard.
him. It's not going to kill him, or it's not going to crush him.
Like it's not the end of
It's
the
not
world.
like it's not like you're running 16 110s the day before a game. You know what I mean, or something of that nature.
And heck, if you want to run that, Derek, here's the way. Like, if you still want to be on, well, this is what I know works. I want to push that towards the end of the week. Like, let me hit the performance stuff early in the week. All right, if we're going to do that on 16 110s, you want to do that, let's do it Thursday, because why? They have Friday, Saturday, Sunday to recover. We'll see them back on Monday.
Right.
So it's just how you work all that. It's what we come back to. Like, how do you structure? How do you frame it? How do you still... Right. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it, but how to do it where the kids still benefit, not let's mess up the whole week.
You know what's funny too about kids when they see something that like what you're doing that works for them, and they're starting to see this performance increase, feel better too. They start to look at other coaches that do excessively. I don't want to use the word crazy because in the old days it wasn't crazy, but like that's no other way for me to think about it. Like endless gassers or things like that. They start to look at those coaches and be like, "What are these guys doing? Like, why are they doing that? I've been told, like this is performance thing." I'm curious, like, do you ever get coaches, the players that come to you and be like, I know that like we talk about this, and then so and so might do this, and like, how do I, work around like what you're saying? Do you have to then coach some of the athletes on the workarounds for them if they know that there's a better way on something, or they feel a little drained? Like, how do you coach them out? Because I've seen young kids that come with the young kids that I work with now. They're like, oh, this guy just runs endless gassers. Now, if they don't know, they don't care. Like, now, do those kids still run them as hard as they can? Sure, absolutely. I tell them, you do them as hard as you can.
Yeah.
We might have to dial back, this and that the next couple of days because there's no way for you to be able to function if you're doing that. And maybe we do some stuff from a lifting or recovery standpoint to work around that. But do you kind of coach some kids on that part of an aspect? Like if they feel maybe they played too many basketball games in a week, like AAU, right? It may not even be gassers, and maybe they played 5 games AAU basketball, right?
Maybe just games, yeah.
It might just be games, right? Too many games.
1,000% so. And I think it comes back to the relationship on that. It also what you said, yes. Like, hey, we got to cut back. So, I got girls in basketball right now. Last year, because I'll do our girls basketball strength and conditioning for them, and usually I see them 1 to 2 days a week. Well, probably didn't sprint them enough in season for basketball that I would have liked to, because some days they're playing 4 games in the week.
Right.
Well, when they finally get out to track in March, like they felt way behind of where our girls are at. So we've talked intentionally of, hey, no matter what the week is, like we're going to be smart to be able to get our sprints in somehow. That means, hey, we'll get a couple reps on the shred mill, whatever we need to do. I just want to make sure so we're checking along on that. But they've also been very good on like, coach, I'm sore, this, that. Been able to do that. Man, we had to do this much to that. Like, hey, I survived that yesterday, but I think that communication piece of them talking is letting me be okay. We're gonna change what our plan is, and I'll give you like here's a good. This year I've started this more than ever is, and I think it's high anxiety's ridden. I think kids got a lot to think about, all that kind of stuff. And it actually started in flag football because I thought the girls were just being goofy one day. But I had them go, hey, go lay down and breathe for 3 minutes. They advocated to do that every practice, every game. Coach, we need to do our breathing first. Just because it got them to a sense of calmness.
Right.
Well, our basketball team played like 2 games. They're on a span of like they played a Friday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday. Finally saw them on Wednesday. So they had Sunday off. And a couple of those games, young basketball team with not a ton of varsity minutes except one girl. They played a couple teams that had Division I girls, and they ended up getting beat by 40 points. Well, I had this great recovery circuit set up. We're getting into it, and like could just tell the girls were off. Like one girl, I said, "Hey, we're going for 60 seconds." The time I turn around, go to start, she's already on her next exercise. I was like, "What are you doing?" "Oh, coach, we're doing 4 sets of 10 today." I was like, never said that.
Right.
But knowing the temperature of the room right there, I go, hey, guys, lay down for 3 minutes. Got them to breathe, because obviously the experiences of 4 games in 5 days and just being wiped out, like, completely washed. So we breathe. I change what our workout was. We go into some isos that day for about 10 minutes, and then I get them out of there. But them understanding and knowing, like, okay, that was really helpful. To then their film session with our basketball coach, he goes, Coach, whatever you did in there with them, he's like, it was awesome. Like, they have not been that locked into film since ever. And it's like, well, I got them to breathe and just calm down, because they're probably not happy about the scores, not feeling great about themselves, not feeling great about their ability, telling them, like, you got to believe in yourself. I know you practice all summer. I know we've been practicing all fall. Like, you are good enough to be on the court. But getting them to a calm state. But
right. You just need a reset. Sometimes you literally just need a reset. It's why,
great.
Look,
Yeah.
and obviously, look, you have to know your teams too, right? Like, it's why guys struggle, right? Football season, you go through all of camp. Hey, we're opening up this week. Do I give them Saturday and Sunday off? Do I only give them Sunday off? Do I bring them in and do I crush them on a Monday, or do I work them really hard on Monday and then trickle off? Like, you have to know your team, and you have to understand what works for them, and then use the science that you've already, you know what I mean? Like, there's stuff now you can look at that it's there, right? You're not guessing. Or the guys that I see, the quote old school guys that, hey, we do it this way, and this is how we've always done it, this is how we're always going to do it, right? They're not willing to put those tweaks in, or understand that, it's no longer cookie cutter coaching where what we say for everybody is how it goes. It doesn't work like that, right? Like, good, bad, indifferent, whether you believe that or you don't, like, it's not, right? So you have to understand each kid, kind of how it goes. Now, you want to work to the masses, right? And I get that. But at the same time, you really need to take those integral one-on-ones and understanding of your team in general to kind of plan out. And you can't be just winging shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just go like, this needs to be a plan from January to May, right? And then, look, you want to reconvene or tweak something because you see it going a certain way, but you have to track all of this. And that's a lot of work. And for high school coaches sometimes that are just, stipend guys, or they're just kind of there, that's not what it is. Like, you got to understand what you signed up for nowadays. This is a 365 7-day-a-week job at that level. And guess what? Like, you ain't getting paid for it. Right. So if you're in it for what you say you are, you really want to do right by your kids, then you'll put in that extra work and kind of look at everything when it comes to that. But that's one of those biggest questions. Like, do I give them off? How much do I work them? How do I get those in-season lifts in, right, and still maximize the potential on Friday night or whatever it is? Like, a lot of coaches struggle with that.
Well, and then you get anxiety ridden as a coach of, like, oh, I just gave them off, like, oh, we should see them. I don't think they're going to do well. And then all of a sudden they do well. And it's like, oh, yeah, like, all right, I can trust that now. But then you give them off again, and it's like, oh, I don't know about this.
Right. And you still have that level of anxiety because, remember, like, that's how you were coached, right? Like, you didn't get off the whole, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, that's what it is. It's like, it's tough to do it, and you kind of got to go off of, your gut and trust what it is. And look, it's never going to be perfect, right? Or you have parents that are like, well, why aren't you bringing them in? Or, hey, they should have off, or, whatever. It's just, you got to know your program. You got to have faith in what you're doing and just go with it, because you got to be all in no matter what.
And crazy enough, so this past year, we've been fortunate with a lot of talent. I think we looked at it like, I think over the last 4 years, I think we've had 10 Division I football players, something like that, which is awesome. Now, we do play a team in our region who pops out like 10 a year. I think they've had 55 in 5 years. So,
damn.
I mean, yeah. Phoenix City's pretty good. But they, this past year, we were a little less talented. And we switched a little bit of our practice plan up we went to No Sweat Wednesday. And what the kids felt, it was one of those things of, anxiety ridden, like, hey, what if we don't get enough inside in? What if we don't do that? But the healthiness and what we went into Friday night, the only thing that mattered when I was talking to the head coach of, like, how we needed to do something a little different, it was, can we have our dudes by Friday night.
Right.
And be 100% on Friday night. And we played all 10 games this year. We went 6-4, just missed playoffs. But like we had all 10 guys, we had all 22 every Friday night.
And health, and
that's what matters. That's what matters.
Right. To me, that's the factor, right? Like that comes down to it, right? Especially places where, look, you might be less talented. And if you do lose that one guy, like that could be your season, right? Especially with like smaller schools with smaller rosters and that, like if I can get you, man, to be healthy, and I'm talking healthy, not like 2 or 3 games where you're, with a nagging ankle or a groin or, you know what I mean? Or like a hammy, like where now like you're less of a player because you're still playing, but you're not 100%. Like that health aspect, I think buys into football. And that's where I think what separates football from other sports is that you're only playing once a week, right? You have one night, like 10, for the most part, 10 guaranteed opportunities, right, a year to go out there and perform. Well, if you're not healthy for, 3-4 games every year, like that starts to add up within your career. And then what are we doing? So I think that part of it, it's what I always like. For me, the feed the cat stuff, like all the Tony stuff, like the health part of it is really what jumps to the top for me, right? Is how can I, like, this keeps guys healthy,
Well, and having that open dialogue with the kid, understanding what you're looking for, understanding, whatever you're testing, how you're looking for it, the right questions when you are, like, if you came in and let's just say we're doing vertical jump and like you were 3 inches lower than your vertical jump, like my first question is, hey, how'd you sleep last night?
Yep.
Coach, my parents are fighting. I got like 2 hours. I'm sorry. Like, okay. That lets me know the rest of the week, how are we going to set this up so you're successful the rest of the week? Not,
absolutely.
Well, it doesn't matter. You got to get your 3 inches. Like, if anything, Feed the Cats helps with it. It helps dialogue and understanding. Like, listen, if we could read minds, we probably wouldn't be in education or coaching. We'd be working the strip down in Vegas,
100%, dude, absolutely. Oh my God, yeah.
There's no doubt that it's really amazing. I'm curious, before we let you go, on some of the like scientific improvement things that you've seen within your program that you like, because you've been studying a lot of your kids for a long time. Like, what are some of the things that you've seen, like certain programming you do resulted in X kind of deal?
I think, well, okay. Let me see. That's a really good question. So, different things that I've done in programming that result. And here's the crazy thing is I could tell you, like, I still can't give you a clear answer on like, hey, if a 7th grader does this, this is what they're going to look at 12th grade, because our fastest guy on the
that's the hardest thing. Not to cut you off, but like Gabe and I talk about that all the time. People don't
know post puberty right.
Like that look, everybody knows that guy in middle school that was dominant, right? And then you got to high school and you're like, where's this guy? Right? Never, like, he just disappears, right? That's 6th, 7th, 8th grade range. And look, I've taught it for a long time. Like, it is a different monster in general. Like, and we're not even talking athletics. Like, you're talking just the entire makeup of the kid and how they're developing and this and that. It turns into a whole different, you know what I mean? That's a question a lot of people have, right? Like,
correct.
Look, you've seen a lot of data and you don't have the answer, right? Because
and like I say that because our AD when we first got here is like, you can't keep a big track team, blah blah blah. Well, I go, well, if you know who to cut, I was like, come out here and cut, because I don't know what middle schoolers to cut on that. And I say that because our kid who ran 14:27 as a 7th grader ran 10:77 last year as a junior, and it's like, if you would have told me like, he's over 13 seconds as a 7th grader, we need to cut him, like, who's the fool? Right. So he's super supportive now, and we got a bunch of kids out there just because I think it's a testament to the kids we have out there. It runs smooth. The support we have and then the coaches we have make that all run smooth, even when we have 180 kids out there. Like, so I'm just trying to think like benchmarkers or things of that nature. I mean, I can tell you
one person's like a couple of kids that, like, certain program you saw, like, even once they actually started to develop, like even high school kids, that they went from here to here. And and you feel like these kind of things help to do that type of deal?
Well, I think our biggest thing for helping, I mean, like, sprinting is for sure, like time and flies, doing altitude drops, absorbing force, and how to. I know somebody will be like, you don't absorb force. Learning how to land and stick the landing consistently, and then even learning how to push. Like the shred mill has been our number one of like foolproof and anything. I could put a kid on there and within a couple weeks, like they are different. They understand how to push horizontally. They're good. Like that mixture, and no matter who I'm working with, like changes bodies within 2 to 3 weeks.
Really?
Understanding how to push, how to go, everything like that.
How does the treadmill work? I've never used it.
So, okay, it's a self-propelled treadmill where on the side it's magnetized through different levels. So it has 10 levels on it. They say it's about 35 pounds a level. So it can go up to 350 pounds of resistance, but it's pushing on there. So it really helps on the back push. Like if I push straight down on that, it sounds like they're trying to break the board underneath it. But if they learn how to push back, it helps with the horizontal of going there. So what they call gear 2 is your heavy resistance. That's going to be your first couple steps on there. That's where you'd put it up to resistance 10. Your gear 3 is like your mid acceleration.
Oh.
Must have got a call.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Voicemail. Stop.
Yeah.
You're good, Coach. You're good.
All right. Yep. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's calling me. All right. So, and like gear 3 is like your top end of your acceleration. Just giving that resistance off is phenomenal. And those have been my like, I'm still working on some benchmarks on there, but just fixing on how to push right, it changes how people move. Like, the biggest thing is like, even our like you could say football and track kids, like our basketball kids really, really improve off that in their first 2 steps of being fast because they understand how to put the right force into the ground.
Interesting. So that becomes almost like a self-taught mechanism based off of what you put them. Very interesting.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, we got you in this shape. You feel that good. And then we can record that and they push and it's like, okay, yeah, I get that. Instead of, us doing 1,000 different things,
right.
Like, yes, it helps. Now, can you do some of that stuff? Like if you had a push sled, perfect. Yeah. If you were doing some bounds out of that, resistance running, yes, you can get that. It's just different when you're actually pushing the ground away and can feel it, because I might be able to do chain sprints or prowler bounds, right? But if my foot's not pushing back and it's hitting straight down, sometimes you can see it. Other times it'd be like, you might not be able to see that with the eye, but you can definitely hear it and see it on the shred mill.
Right. That's really interesting. That's really, really interesting. Those shred mills are quite a pretty penny. We gotta move to enterprise to get on those shred mills.
I got my wife says I got a horseshoe stuck somewhere, and I probably do because it was the right place at the right time. I called Tony Villani out of nowhere before he started mass producing. He's like, yeah, this guy's moving from Ohio, wants to get rid of his. I think we can get that whole refurbished and send it to you. So like,
dude, Tony's so funny. We've had Tony on, and that's the funny thing. What was the one thing he said, Dave? He's like, look, man, he's like, I've never had to repo a shred mill from an individual owner. He goes, but I've sure as hell had to repo them from some type of big corporate company that could easily pay this bill. But I've had to repo more of those guys. Like, he was so funny when he came to it. Like, all right, Tony, like he's
one of the most generous. He says I got the shred mill museum, so I have like the 8th one ever made, the 20th, and I only know this because where you have to Bluetooth it, it'll say like shred mill 20 or shred mill 24. Right. So like he says I got the shred mill museum because I have 3 different kinds of shred mills and they're one of the first ones ever made. And yeah, just right place, right time. I'm really fortunate.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to scour the Facebook Marketplace. I'm gonna go to the Facebook Marketplace and just scour it, like go to every city.
Yeah.
And hunt one down. That's all awesome stuff, Brad. We can't thank you enough for coming on, taking the time. Glad we were able to get you on. I mean,
I appreciate it. Yeah, and if you guys want to do it ever again, anytime.
Yeah, there's so much we can cover with you. You know what I mean? There's so much. It's really, really great. I think me and Derek might have to take a visit to Enterprises to see that facility.
Whenever you guys want to, always open invitation. And if you ever need my wife to get on here, how she balanced
that's a good idea.
Dude, that would be great. Absolutely, Coach. We'll talk. Yeah, 100%. Because that look, it's something like we both know. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
hey, and here's the crazy thing. We were originally so she was at the high school, and it's like, sweet. And I had another coach who was assistant softball coach. Finally talked their school system into like, hey, I need 2 flag teams. I need a JV team and varsity. Good. I need an extra coach. Perfect. They did all that. Well, then my wife got the middle school PE coaching spot, which like, hey, you need to coach flag football or you need to coach volleyball with this. And then my other assistant coach left out of education. So right before the school year started, I was by myself with 2 teams. And I'm like, she goes, hey, I can join you back on these days or when October 1st hits, like, you got me full-time flag again. So we made it work. Like, it was a juggling act, but
it's amazing.
You know, my 5 and 7-year-old
juggle it in season.
Yeah. I mean, she's phenomenal on that, and she makes all that stuff work. Because our 5 and 7-year-olds were playing 6U soccer together, and that was during all that time in the fall.
Well, look, it's also just so different. It's just so different in comparison to New Jersey, where the middle school programs are so tied into the high school programs. Like they're all one, right? Like whereas here, like most middle schools don't even have organized sports on that level. Sure. It's all whatever youth program within the state. Like, so we have all these conversations about, and look, there's no first period football or athletics. Like that stuff's not even built into school curriculum. They would laugh at you. 100%. Like they would literally look at us like, wait, you want the first block of the day to be a sport? You know what I mean? Like they literally would look at you like you had 10 heads and you're like, I would love also like spring football. Like, that would be nice too. Like not a part of it. You know what I mean? Like it's just not.
Well, you're coming from Illinois too, where New Jersey's similar. Although Illinois is probably advanced in something, but New Jersey and Illinois is like gone similar with like their whole most of the places where their model was like phys ed needs to be just like purely about like a wellness aspect, like less competition, sport based kind of deal. And I think that actually in New Jersey and Derek's I haven't been in public school in 5 years, but Derek can tell you maybe more about this. But I think that affects the phys ed programs as a whole. That like it's separating phys ed from a physical development standpoint and just making it into like, how can I get my cardiovascular conditioning? Like, and that's where, like, because I remember when they were really trying to push this a lot. Was I actually did my student teaching, and I was going to Columbia for it, and I ended up just going into performance and starting my own business. But when I was going through, they were talking so heavily about it. How they were talking about Illinois and New Jersey, like over and over and over again. How that became the huge push. And they would cite places like Texas who had sport things as part of their phys ed as like the enemy almost. And I was like, like I didn't fit in because of that. But it was I was just like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, can't 2 things like be true? Like there might be kids that need a wellness aspect that are not going
to full circle. Right. It's not cookie cutter. Right. Look, you have world history. You have history classes. There's an AP class. There's a college level class. There's a lower level class. Like, why can't you do that with phys ed? Right. Guys that just need wellness. Guys that want to compete. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's one of the few it's just
because athletes don't want to do it. Like they don't want to go to phys ed anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, how is that? Right. You know, like unless you get a guy like you, like when we were in RBR at Red Bank, at the last place me and Derek coached together at, the strength and conditioning coach was trying to do some more of that kind of aspects for the kids, but it was really a workaround he was doing. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was a little bit of a workaround because he'd be like, hey, I tell the football guys, hey, they can come and we can get this part in. during gym, if they're in gym. Well, he was working around. He wasn't like it wasn't like accepted.
Right. He was doing like the best he could with kind of what was, allowed or by definition or whatever. Like, absolutely. And look, he worked his ass off. Like, I get it. But I mean, at the same time, it's not built in. Right. So it's almost like, from whereas your superintendent is saying, hey, dude, like, this is your job and everybody's going to do it here. Not so much, unless you have an exceptional place that really wants to look at it and say, you know what, like, we're going to incorporate this. And then they're still kind of going about it in a way of like, it's not, on paper or it's not official. It's kind of like, hey, well, we do this and it works out, right? Because this is what we continue to do. So it's just so different in the entire setup of the educational system from state to state to state to state that, whatever. Dave, you've been on mute the entire time, so.
Sorry. And then they'll tell them to go 4 laps around the track, walking wise, right? Like, myself at 51 years old, that's great. That's
right. But for a 16, 15-year-old kid, like, dude, like, why do you think you have so many behavior issues? Or why are you dealing with so much activity within class? Like, go drain them a little bit in the block that they have physically. And now you won't be dealing with so many of those issues, right? And then maybe you won't be so quick to, send him down to the other office because he's acting up.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But it's interesting because I think that it's going to come full circle, and literally because of the success that a lot of the places like yourself, the Texas, and it's going to come back full circle because people are going to eventually be like, if that's what phys ed is now, where we are, what are we doing? Like, it should be some combination of let the guys that are sport athletes do what they need to do.
Sure.
Let the kids that maybe they don't do sports, you know what I mean? They do if they want to do.
Especially your multi-athletes, your multi-sport athletes.
Right.
Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah. Don't work to the lower common denominator on that. Figure out what each group needs. But anyway, I'll let you. That's my soapbox for today.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, gentlemen.
Coach, thank you, man. I appreciate you taking the time.
You got it. Have a great day.
Thank you.
You too.
We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Thank you, Coach.
All right.
Bye. That was great. I got to run real quick into this other pod, but before that one falls apart. But that he's great. I forgot to ask it. He's one of Tony's was one of his go-to guys. I thought, right? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yep. I just say, look, he's got a lot, right? Like, and for a school district and a program and a place to be so bought into it, to create a position and do all that kind of stuff, dude, you're just reaping the benefits. And that's before you even get to, hey, why don't you take a look at how much they're investing in every bit of what's there right now? I mean, because those facilities, unbelievable, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt. And yeah, there's no doubt. But I wanted to say this. I thought yesterday went exceptionally well.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It went really well. I Harrison will be a great addition, and
100%.
And
some of those guys, I think that kind of either had other things going on or they didn't really whatever. I think they kind of missed out on a little bit because it's taking a turn a little bit, dude. It's high level, you know what I mean? You're gonna battle. You're gonna battle, and you know what? It's not just just show up and whatever. The talent and the understanding and the grasp and the desire and the want to do a little bit more and all that kind of stuff. You're gonna get out there and compete. Those kids that were there, they got after it a little bit.
They got after it. I was also really, really surprised at the level the 10 and 11-year-olds were at.
Dude, the youngers are now, I'm telling you, that market,
dude.
It's always been there, and now we've grasped it, and it's hey, this is now, we're going to put it all together.
These kids are skilled kids. And, but it's really, it was, I thought it was really good. It was because, you never know because it's windy and cold and you right. Will it work the way you want? But it worked out really good. And it's It's the like-mindedness thing is like guys that understand, like, okay, this is what we're doing. You know what I mean? That goes along. I think the kids see that. Like, it's so easy to get caught up on all the social media stuff, and I understand why they do like it. I'm not stupid, you know. But staying focused on what actually helps get them
right
to get better, get the number of reps, like
realness,
that's
like the
always
real stuff, right? Like, yeah, absolutely. And I think that like number.
Do you want to watch someone else, or do you want to participate? Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, what do you want to do?
You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather you get 5 reps than him get 5 reps, even though if this kid's great and you're the next level guy, then him get 5 reps and you get 1 because they determined early that this kid was great. You know what I mean?
This kid's already the guy. Like, no, like you got to come out here and you still got to do it. So
let everybody go compete. All right, man. Hey, listen, have a great are we back tomorrow? Or no?
We're back tomorrow, 11 a.m. with Coach Kelly from Montclair State girls flag.
That'll be fun.
Good one.
Flag's going through the roof.
Buddy, wait till you hear some of his stories. Like, it's unbelievable.
I can't wait. It's going.
He's right at the ground floor of, like, you know what I mean? Like, we're taking this next step. Like, get ready. Like,
they play in the spring. By the way, does he play in the spring?
Yes, they play in the spring. So he's literally like he has his class for this season. Like, he's recruiting like almost like a year. You know what I mean? Like, it's like because he's like these girls haven't really even played their senior year of flag football yet.
Got
for
it.
the most part. You know what I mean? So he's recruiting them already with the season still about to happen, which is that's a podcast in itself.
Very, very interesting stuff. And this is like, it's like a gold rush in the sense that the faster you go find the best players and build your team with the best players, you're going to win.
That structure from the jump. Yep, absolutely.
You're gonna win.
And then everybody else is going to figure it out, follow suit, and then it just
continues
continues to grow.
Be the top.
Correct.
I call it the Vivian Stringer of female basketball. Remember Vivian Stringer?
Yep.
So long before there was Gino, you know, like there was Vivian Stringer, Pat Summitt, right?
Yep.
And then at Gino, those two really started the process. And I can't remember who was the Louisiana Tech coach at the time, but Louisiana Tech coach who spawned off the woman who's the Baylor's coach. But they built those great women's teams, and basically were able to, for a long time, until Gino came around, really, get all the best players, really. I mean, those 3 programs had the best players, and then Gino took it to a different level, like went to like a level that was like
and blew it up.
But yeah, absolutely, and has been able to sustain from that. Now there's a lot of people competing for it, but because Gino was like 2.0 and was so big in 2.0, it's so hard to catch him. It's 20 years later, it's still hard to catch him. You know, because everybody else is still trying to say, "Hey, I'm as good as Gino." Well,
yeah,
he was there, he literally was he was the 2.0. He was there during 1.0, but he was 2.0 because he learned from what they did and built his even better. You know what I mean? And so I think flag is going to be the same way. These first guys are like the Summits, Pat Summits, and then eventually there'll be those people will sustain, and there'll be a 2.0 version of them. And you get into those 1.0 and 2.0, dude, you're going to end up you have a chance to be a legend, literally, as a coach. And the kids you'll get will be legendary kids, you know?
Absolutely. Because they'll have set the tone, set the market, you know what I mean? Like, they're the guy.
Yeah. I mean, how does the woman who's the Baylor's coach, Moki, she played on Louisiana Tech's national championship teams. She was a point guard. Is she the player that the girl she gets now? Probably not, but she was in that first part of it all, and she was great, and she learned from a great coach. So she's a 3.0er, I would say, probably, but she's been able to become like, you know, it's amazing. Like, you know, it's amazing how that could be the forefront. This is like being in the, you know, Newt Rockne era of football. Like, you know, like if you become Newt Rockne, you can get all the players, right? Newt Rockne figured that out in the 1915s or whatever.
Right.
Just like Pop Warner figured it out with the Carlisle Indians, who you know, Jim Thorpe and all that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Like
So
if you're on that cutting edge, dude, like here we go.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and he was able to figure that out and had so many of the best players. And there's a few of those guys, but it's really it's very interesting. So I think that's so cool for women's sports, the flag part, because literally the
more opportunities. You know what I mean? Like you'll have an opportunity to like get a scholarship and play something that's like you'll literally be like on the ground floor. Like you know what I mean? You'll be etched in history no matter what. These first couple groups.
The girl I had yesterday,
oh my god, dude. She was unbelievable.
She might be, I'm telling you, athletically, she's almost a D1 athlete right now.
Dave, I watched her do a shuttle, and I was like, hello, okay.
She's 11.
You know I mean? Like, oh my god, dude. I'm like, oh my god. I know. I checked her in. I'm like, hello, how you doing? Like, get ready to dominate.
The QBs were the 11-year-old QB was like when I come in the huddle, they'd be like, all right, what? He's like, hey, let's have her head top.
yeah. Like, let's throw her a fade. Go get her. Go get it.
Like, I'm like, who? Like, how amazing is that? Like, and you know, that's cool about the kids nowadays. Like,
they just flow with it. There's no like, they don't care. Yeah.
They don't care. She's an athlete.
Yep. She's one of us.
She was an and they wanted to go against her. She wanted to go against them.
Yes, well, that was the part I saw too. Like even like you're mixing in some of those like younger guys with like freshmen or whatever, like 8th grade, 7th grade with freshmen or whatever. Like those guys wanted the smoke. They're like, I got it. I'm like, hey, we'll match this up age-wise. Like I had a lot of dudes that were like, Coach, I'm good. I got it. And it's like, okay, but like good to go. You want to compete? Go compete, dude. Love it.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. It was cool. All right, we just need more of it.
Amen.
Keep getting more of it.
All
Absolutely.
right, man. Talk to you later.
All right, have a great day.